So welcome everyone. Today we have a wonderful episode about relationships and specifically how to bring ceremony and how to create ceremony in your relationship and really in all relationships. However, we're going to be focusing more on romantic, committed relationships and relationship containers. And this is a wonderful topic because Kirby and I, we love ceremony, we love connecting with our beloveds, and we love bringing the two together. And it's really the foundation for me, that's the foundation of a conscious connection, conscious communion. And so, yeah, just to start, I'd love to hear for you, when you hear ceremony, what does that mean to you? Like, just so we can define those terms. Before we talk about the relationships, what does ceremony mean when you use that word?
When I use it or when I hear it? When I hear it, there's an element of it that there's sacred nature to it. And it is, to be held in a really conscious way and intention-based way. I think that's really important to have and to hold with ceremony. To specifically define ceremony to me, there's parts of it. There's like a beginning, middle, and end of the ceremony. And within it, my intention within ceremony is to connect with myself and connect with a power that is greater than myself. God, source, creator, divine, Holy Mother, Father. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially, there can be really tight structure around ceremony or fairly loose. It just depends on the specific ceremony and what I'm trying to create. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I would say similar, that there's some sort of intention. Mm-hmm. Often there's an intention to let go of something or an aspect of life and to call something in. And yeah, I was thinking in my mind as you were sharing beginning, middle, and end, and then that's what you said. So of course it's the same for me. Mm. There's a clear beginning, like we've begun ceremony now, because there's the gathering before, but then the actual calling of powers and energies, and then the beginning is that, and then the middle is the experience, and the end is a formal closing. So there's always this structure to it and a connection to higher power. And for me, that's always a benevolent higher power. Technically, you could do ceremony with malevolent higher powers if you wish. And that's not what we do though, right? I shouldn't speak for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, that's how I define it too. Mm. And so for me in relationship, that is a really beautiful way to deepen with my beloved.
So how do you bridge that? How do you bring it into like a practical relationship? Mm-hmm. Like if you were to guide somebody or yourself, what does that look like for you? Mm.
Yeah, so for me, that looks like spending time consciously together, creating a period of time where we're going to be. And that can be often in a setting that's like at home. However, it could be out in nature or on a trip somewhere. And so in the context of being at home, it would be, okay, we're going to do this ceremonial container from 9 till 10 or whatever, some frame of time. And then it looks like sitting down together, and we always start with a prayer and an invocation of God and love and joy and speaking our intention, asking for deepening in our connection. And then there's always some sort of relational experience. So some of our favorite is gazing into each other's eyes and having prompts, whether it's intuitive prompts or one of our favorite is actually from Justin Pierce in London Winters, which is I see, I feel. Mm. And it's a really beautiful practice of the masculine saying I see and the feminine saying I feel. And so we'll set a timer, sometimes 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'll start with I see, and I'll just gaze into her eyes and say everything that I see. So I'll say, I see, I see your woman shining through you right now. And then she'll say, I feel whatever she feels. Maybe she feels my heart expanding and opening. And then I'll say, I see, I see the light in your eyes glow brighter as your heart is opening. And it can go back and forth like that for the whole time. And sometimes it's a bit awkward. You run out of things to say. Sometimes it is more deep and can be cathartic even, where shadow comes up and it's like you're really seeing the person's shadow and it's really vulnerable. And we just sit with that. And then we'll switch after the timer goes up, and then I'll say I feel and she'll say I see. And it's a really powerful, simple practice that is ceremonial and also inclusive. So it's not a solo thing, it's very much with the other. And then sometimes we'll incorporate other things like intuitive toning or sounding, singing, sometimes some movement or some meditation even. So really mixing in whatever we want into that practice. And then that sometimes will often lead into lovemaking and connecting in that way. Because it's a beautiful foreplay even, like energetic foreplay. And yeah, that's really how the container often looks, in a way that's like easily to replicate. And for us too, like one of our core intentions, my beloved Katie and I, is to walk and talk with the Creator in each moment of our day. And so in that way, life is ceremony, really. So we treat, as best we can, we treat each moment with reverence and love and ceremonial aspects, even if it's getting up and doing the dishes, cleaning the house. So that said, creating the intentional spaces is really great too. So that's a simple practice that you could do, or you could do a different dyad or whatever resonates. And yeah, it's really beautiful, really juicy. And for you, like, what is it? Do you have practices that you find really helpful to create a ceremonial container with your partner, or is there something that comes up in this conversation that you feel inspired to share?
I feel inspired to share my process to what it looks like in bringing it into my relationship. And the first part of that is checking in with the willingness of myself to see, am I willing to do this? And if that's a yes, checking in to see if my partner is willing and wanting the same. And if that's there, then from that place we can dreamscape a little bit and lean into what it looks like. Maybe it's a tantric practice, a tantric ceremony. Maybe it's a breathwork ceremony that we want to sit in. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's vulnerability. And then from that place, leaning into the area of desire that I'm feeling and that my partner's feeling in that moment. So I think the first is checking in with willingness, and then setting the time and the space. So creating that really clearly, knowing that it may change, and not being attached to it happening, not being attached to the breath work or whatever it may be. And checking in again before. Say, it's challenging for me to set a ceremonial space for 5 minutes from now, right? More time and energy and intention has to be taken from my body, mind, and spirit to create that container in a way that it will be held well. Sure, I can create it, but the probability of it not being held as well is far higher, so I choose not to. I know myself, right? So setting it for the next day or much later intentionally, unless it's recurring, which is preset, and setting the appropriate block of time, and then having a check-in point before checking in, and then actually, if it's still a yes, going into it. And I really like, regardless of the practice or the ceremony specifically that I'm creating with my partner, a connection practice of some form. It can be physical touch, it can be eye gazing, it can be sitting in front of one another with the lights off in a room in complete darkness and just listening to the how one another are breathing. Just a deep way to spiritually connect with the other person. Yeah, and then allowing within it for what to organically arise in some of them, and feel it, having more key structures to follow if we want, and following them, in alignment in the moment. Because if it falls out of alignment, then we're not authentically being present, right? So and continuing to check in with ourselves and our beloveds as far as where we stand and where we feel. Are we feeling, you know, this magnifying connection, and also trusting it. Yeah. I love consciously breathing with my partner. You know, Hannah and I sit in such deep spaces with a connected breath often, and it really feels like our fields are expanding and merging, and then, you know, kind of encompassing the room and the space. And I feel like there's a really divine union that happens when we are open and surrendered and receiving and giving in ceremony together. It's a really magical space and sacred space to me in my heart. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I love what you shared about that at the last piece around divine union, because for me that's what makes a union divine, is being able to sit in ceremony and in conscious connection and practice where there is an invitation of a higher power that's beyond the union, that is governing and guiding the union, which for me, I relate to that power as God or the Creator. And creating structured spaces for that cultivation is really crucial. And it's also something that we need to practice in our own life as individuals. Like, I know for me, my capacity to sit in ceremony with my beloved is based on my capacity to sit in ceremony on my own, create that space on my own, and in other settings with groups, or whether it's leading or participating in a ceremony, that all of that cultivation prepares me to create that space and my own daily practice. Because as we're talking, it's like ceremony and practice, are going together in this conversation, where we can consider sitting and doing a breathwork practice with our partner as a form of ceremony, especially if we bring in that deeper intention of like a prayer and a deeper intention for what we want to create as a result of it. So the way that I talk about it is temple time. With me, like Katie and I talk about it as temple time. That's how we talk about it, because that's kind of a nice way to refer to it. And I think we got the idea, I don't know if he calls it this, but John Wineland talks about something like that, temple time or something similar, where it's this intentional space that we're talking about to honor and show respect and love for the relationship. And it's so important, especially in the busyness of life, because if you don't create that space, time will just pass on, and the intimacy, that deep closeness, will diminish, right? Because if you're not creating it, it's going to get filled with other things. And I find that it's like this space where we really make love, like meaning create love.
Yeah.
Right? Like it makes love, like it creates love in the bond, that then the next day it's still felt. Whether we make physical love and have sex or not, it's not really what it's about.
They're totally different.
Yeah. It's about creating deeper love and capacity for love in our connection.
Yeah. Sacred sexuality is a part, that's a ceremony as well. You know, if you're practicing sacred sexuality with yourself and your beloved, you know, that is a place to really connect in that way, you know? Yeah. And it can be fun and it can be spicy, and it doesn't have to be dull and mundane. It can be really rich. And that's what I really encourage, is look at what ceremony can mean to you and how beautiful it can be, right? Because a lot of people that I've worked with see ceremony as something that can be really rich and beautiful, but they also see it as like a chore, right? And I don't like the energy of chore around ceremony, because it's not that for me. And it doesn't have to be that for any of the listeners. You can create something in ceremony that is beautiful and serving you in a really good way, right? And that's the step into that, is just getting curious as to what that can look like for you, you know?
Yeah.
I see dance as ceremony for me, right? Dancing with my beloved or with myself, you know, getting to know myself. Life is ceremony. But so many, again, have lost that vision in their life, that creating micro ceremony can allow for that to be a stepping stone back to a ceremonial life.
Yeah, that's one thing I've found that's beautiful in relationship is that the ceremony that we share with our beloved or beloveds is that it strengthens it's like using the relationship also as a template for our spirituality, and a place of like, oh, spiritual practice can be shared with another in that way, and that our relationships can bring us closer to God, closer to truth. And it's such a rich container for that. And because if you are in a divine union, a union that's conscious, a union that is loving rather than, manipulative or controlling, that is based in love and joy, then when you bring that together, it's a really magical alchemy. That the two people bringing this loving connection, it's like that's how God, I feel like God really designed us, is that man and woman come together and there's this magical alchemy. Just like we can create life, just like we can create a baby, we can also create so many other things. And one of those things is creating sacred space together that's healing, that rejuvenates you, that you feel better afterwards, that will also bring things to the surface. Like sometimes we have secret things like resentments or things that we don't share. And if you sit in ceremony with your beloved, it's like those things will come to the surface. Because in the busyness of life, sometimes we don't notice, but then the ceremony brings it up. And then we have the opportunity, like we've talked about, to reveal rather than withhold, and truth tell, which will clean the relationship, clean our conscience, strengthen intimacy. So, yeah, also seeing it as this beautiful space of connecting to God and knowing God and knowing love more deeply through the connection with another is a really magical thing.
Yeah, I agree. And in hearing and sitting in this conversation with you, this is a vulnerable share, but I've lost a little bit of that ceremony in my relationship as of recently. And I want to use this time in this space to set an intention to lean into it more and get back to it, because I know what it has brought me, and this conversation is reigniting that spark for me. And yeah, so I'm going to lead something tonight.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's a beautiful invitation for whoever's out there listening, that this is an opportunity for you as well. And I hold that intention for myself too. I was actually feeling that before you said that, like at some point in the call or before we had this conversation. I was like, oh yeah, because we're doing our Equanimous Man call tonight, our men's group. It's like, oh yeah, after that, going right into some temple time.
Yeah.
Really feeling that for me as well. So we'll be holding that intention together.
And it doesn't have to be perfect when you lean into ceremony. A lot of people are afraid to make mistakes, and that stops them from trying. Just try, make mistakes, and then do better next time. How are we going to become proficient at something if we don't lean in? Lean in.
Yeah, just do the thing.
Do the thing. Do the hard thing.
Yeah. I mean, a simple way to do it is like we said, both people agree to it. You sit down, make a prayer to God, to Creator, to your higher self. And in that prayer, what is your intention? Speak the intention. May this time help me grow more deeply connected to my partner. It could be as simple as that. And then go into in the meat of it, it's like some practice. It can be eye gazing, breath work, whatever practice.
Dance.
Dance, a tantric breathing together.
Yeah.
And then have a sense of closing, a bow to each other, a hug, a kiss, a cuddling, or making love, whatever feels right in that moment, and giving gratitude for the experience. And to remember too, sometimes we get in the way because it's like, oh, I don't have time, but it's like that can be a 20-minute thing.
Yeah. Make the time.
Yeah.
Create the time, and then you will have the time.
Yeah.
It's simple and challenging sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Especially as life can be at times full. Schedules can be full. But it's a matter of just making the time. So, yeah, that feels complete. Do you have any closing words you'd like to share?
Just doubling down on, don't be afraid to make mistakes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Lean in. It can be messy. And yeah, it takes an element of courage to create ceremony and leadership. And that leadership is really beautiful. So lean into the leadership.
Mm. Yeah, and I'll just share in that as men, if we want to be in the masculine pole of our relationship, it's our job to lead it. And it doesn't mean we have to figure it all out on our own. Leading it can be the saying, hey, we're going to do this tonight. Are you open? Or this week? Or this is, and setting the container, and then having consultation with your partner about ideas she may have. However, we're as the masculine polarity, we're the leaders. So as men, lead it, create the space, carve out the time, invite your partner into it, orchestrate something, make it a surprise. It's really, really polarizing when it's like, hey, from 9 to 10, we're going to do something really special tonight. Don't plan anything, and set the tone, light a candle, burn some incense, create a mood, get really cozy in the space, and your partner, your woman she'll love it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It could be messy, get some flowers and just breathe together. Like, so often women just want to feel connected, to feel prioritized.
People want to feel connected and prioritized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Women in particular.
Yeah. And like when a woman feels cherished and special, there's something that opens inside of her. It's really sacred. So. Yeah. Feminine, really. So, yeah, that completes our time together. So thank you for listening, watching, and we'd love to hear from you and hear your experience with ceremony and relationship, and if you have any practices that resonate with you. So leave a comment, like our video or our podcast, subscribe. It makes a big difference, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.